Alright everyone, today we're gonna talk a bit about the next campaign, which is a Blood Angel campaign, and for the faction, and the modifier is 225 deck points and 8 bodyguards, plus you get uh, everything maxed, and all your deployed cards gain each turn plus 5 melee attack. So that means that we're gonna have to use some cards that are having really high melee attack, or at least some melee attack, and have high survivability. So we are gonna fight. We're gonna fight against Chaos, which has a lot of cards with really high stats. So we need to be a bit smart about this. So let's say you want to use someone like the Logan Grimnar, which is the High King of Fenris. You have to take into account that you'll have 225 deck points, so you can have some really big hitters. And if we go in the melee department, we will be able to see that the best cards are gonna be the ones that have some shields, maybe some good survivability, some fear, and also maybe can actually explode, like Sven Iron Fist. You can also use something like something with a big game hunter if you want, but this is going to be just one or two cards like this. What I would recommend, some really good cards over here. So let's say you want to use Logan, right? You should take Torgaradon, which has all the shields. At level 15 he's gonna be really good at this, so you can use this. Then you can add something like you should actually add, where is she? You should add Tigurius, because he also have shields, and the +5 each turn melee is gonna be absolutely massive. And with 5 shields and a lot of psychic, you're gonna have some really strong. Let's actually go for shields. What else do we have with shields? Barrage. Furious Charge. Okay, Poison Outflank, Medicae, Shielded. Okay, let's see. So you also have Arjak, which is a must-have over here. So how many do we have? Another +25, 55 in total. We could go with Moloch, which has some absolutely great stats, but there's also Belial, which will give you some really good inspiring presence. So he's gonna be another good option. So you have over here already. This is one option, right? You have Logan Grimnar with Tigurius and also Arjak, Belial, and so on and so forth. So if we think a bit more about this, what else could we add? We would need some Medicae just to increase the wounds, and then maybe another one of those. Yeah, this guy would be really good, but I think we're a bit over the limit, right? -25, 199 plus 25 should be, yeah, so it's a bit too much. Okay, so in this case we could remove this guy. That's -12, and you'll have another 13 points. So with 13 points you could also either go with this guy, which would ensure that whenever you deploy you'll get Inspiring Presence and you have TJ. But you also could renounce one of them, so I'm guessing the more expensive one. Although Arjak is pretty good, he only has some melee and some ranged. You can go with some more psychic. So let's see you on psychic. This will make you a bit not as strong, but it can be really fun. So you can remove Arjak, can go with something like Grimaldus, right? Because he's gonna be really strong. He has already Inspiring Presence, and he has Fear, which acts like basically a shield. So he's gonna survive for a really long time, and his actual stats at level 15 are gonna be really strong. So that's pretty good. Actually, let me see. Is this level 13? Yeah, level 13 legendaries. So okay. In completing the deck, I think that the best other option is going to be something like either a Najal. So if you put Najal over here, you have minus 12, and you can minus 12. You can see what else you can add over here. So let's reset a little bit. What other cards are here? You have minus 12. You can go for this guy and basically just make sure that you have a bulwark, so something like this, minus 12, because you already have two Inspiring Presence cards, right, over here. Or you could also just remove both of those, right? You have the basic deck, and then go with something with a bit of spice. And that little bit of spice is gonna be this guy. This guy, when he's at his max, he has some huge potential to basically explode. So he'll be 111, and by the end of his life, basically, and if you have some Inspiring Presence, he'll just hit like an absolute truck. And if it's a melee-based kind of attack, he'll one-shot most things of the enemy, right? So you could put Bayard over here, and for the 11 something like, I don't know, you can put Eredric Setorax, which will get you the target required. So if they put any kind of fear, that's a good option, right? So let's say put, or if you want something more spice, you can put Brother Gjorn, because he will be able to remove some pesky shields or something like this, or just kill a really low value deck or low value card. The rest, this I wouldn't bother with, neither this. Any card that has some some really small either melee or range attack, they won't work as good as the rest. So you can also use Sergeant Kajurak Swifting, because he has some pretty good melee attack, and this will only increase, but the problem is the wounds. So in the end, it's your choice. If you want to go a bit more in that, I mean, you could put two cards just to make sure that you have something. So put another, I don't know, remove this, add the dog, and there you have almost a full deck, right? And that should be one option, which would be really strong and probably should go through most enemy decks. So with this deck, the main thing is make sure that when you deploy, you always try to protect Najal, because he is gonna be the one who takes care of cars that have shields, that have high fear, so put him not opposite the high fears, just put him where he's protected, and he should, at least until he dies, he should do continuous damage, especially against those Nurgle decks, some of the poison decks, and I forget his name, the warlord of the Death Guard. So against this guy, this is gonna be your enemy, because he will absolutely make all of your attacks with a lot of enemy cards. It's gonna be making your attacks a lot weaker. So you need some kind of chaff in order to try and kill at least a few of the enemy cards without your heavy hitters. So you're gonna have this heavy hitter, you're gonna have this one, and this one. The most damage is gonna be done by this guy, right? So you need to protect him. Try to heal him with your healer. Put him in the least dangerous spot. This guy, his role is gonna be to just hold on and make them pay and make their melee attacks really bad, right? So anytime you need to basically one-shot a card or put him in the most dangerous spot, you can put him, right? You always want to put Pirate's Revenge in the middle, right? When he explodes, you'll want to have around 200 melee damage at least, right? With 200 melee damage, that means that if you have this, it's gonna have another 50-60 melee in each of the adjacent area. So it's basically a 300 melee attack at his death, and you can use him before that, right? So when you deploy, just go with this. It's gonna be a lot easier. In fact, we could, right, see how the deck looks, mainly at least, without, let's say without Bayard, right? You have another 9 over here, right? Because Bayard is gonna be you kind of know what's his role. It's gonna hit really hard, and that's about it. And the rest of them actually, like they are over here, they can absolutely destroy enemy decks. So let's say instead of Bayard, which is a good replacement for Bayard, which can have the same rule. So that's a 9. Yeah, let's say the Vanguard Veteran. It's kind of the same. You have a card that can hit, but actually just remove him and show how it works, right? So ignore the enemy cards. It's gonna be some weaker teams because it's the beginning of the season, so everyone has been reset. This is gonna be really easy. The change that I made with the Medica is really good because you can pick and choose whatever you want to deploy before you actually do any kind of anything over here. So let's say over here you have this guy, right? You want to put him against the card that is least likely to attack you. In this case, Tolmeron has a ranged attack, right? This is the only card that doesn't. So even though he has the biggest melee attack, he won't attack you, right? Because that's how the AI works. Right now, the wolf is gonna do some exceptional damage, right? With just being over here. You don't need to do anything. Just melee debuff, range debuff, and then you have a big attack over here, and you basically murder everything, right? And at the same time, your range attack and melee attack increases by using only psychic, and you still have in reserve a lot of other cards, right? So at this point, it doesn't really matter. This is over. But in case you'd have a more stronger opponent, that might start to work a bit in their favor, right? So let's just win this real fast. Maybe we'll get something a bit stronger against us next turn. Okay, so let's say you have a big card from the enemy team or the enemy squad, right? And basically you have Torgaradon, right? and Thor will absolutely murder it, right? And the fact that you have the special rule from the wolf just assures you to do some really good stuff. So that's one option, right? The option which is with the wolf, and it's a pretty good team. Let's see another team. Actually, let's do one more battle, and then we'll see the next team. Maybe the next opponent is gonna be a bit harder, and it will bring out a little bit more firepower. Unfortunately, it's a scout, so it probably has some really bad. Not that bad. Level 10. Okay, that's a medium type of deck. It's nothing fancy, but it might put us some issues over here. So we don't want to go in the deploy from this, and I think the easiest way of doing this is just adding this guy, because he's expendable. He can withstand a few hits, and yeah, he has the rating of 200%, right? So at this point his only role was to basically die, but we don't care. Okay, so we've taken a bit of a beating over here, and we need to make them heal a little bit. We have Najal going like this, and then this is over, right? What level it is? Level 10. Okay, so this is kind of a medium team, medium to high, right? And this is a good thing that we have our Najal protected. So for now, it's just spamming psychic and making sure that they don't really have a lot of options. I'm hoping that this guy is gonna die pretty fast, and once he's dead, I'm gonna need to add in yeah, he's gonna just basically die the next turn. I'll need to add Torgaradon, I think. Depends on what they deploy over here. So yeah, I think Torgaradon should be more than capable of absolutely murdering the black Dref. And although they will spam some ranged, I still have enough HP over here, so this isn't actually an issue for me. And the shields over here should be enough by the time the deploy comes from... should I actually kill it? Yeah, we can kill it. And basically the special rule assures the fact that we actually destroy everything over here pretty easily. So as you see, we've never deployed our warlord. The battles might be a bit harder in the actual event, but you kind of see over here the way that the team works, right? Might not be the best option, but it should be pretty easy to and give you a lot of options. That's the whole idea over here, giving you options. Alright, so now let's see another option. Okay, and now the second option that I would entertain would be, of course, Acheran, because right now we're looking at the best decks, right? So fortunately I have a maxed out Acheran, and this is the deck that I'm typically using with him. And over here, as you can see, you have two healing cards. You have again Najal, which is his role is gonna be again to just survive. Tigi to basically take a lot of beating before going down, and Mephiston, which is gonna be kind of the same as Tigi, but I don't mind so much if he dies, because when he dies, he has a really big death blow, right? So that's another thing. But taking into account that at max level he has 300 wounds, and he also has some healers over here, he can withstand a lot of pressure, right? So Najal is the only one that has been nerfed continuously throughout the time because of his special psionic blast, right? And it makes sense, and especially after the second round of reworks, when he got the inspiring presence, he got even stronger than before. So let's see one battle with him, and if over here, let's say you have another 25 points, you can just add another card over here. Let's say 26. If you want a 26, which is pretty good, you can really well add either this guy who has some shields but he's a bit boring, or you can add Adrax, which has the regen, and regen can do wonders over here. And he also has the melee debuff. So actually between those two, I would actually use Adrax, right? Add him over here. Sorry about that. I snoozed. And you have a pretty decent team. So let's see how this team works over here in action, right? So it's the kind of cookie cutter team that will go up to, I don't know, 5k in ranked each season, so you shouldn't have any kind of issues by beating most decks. One of the decks that will put some pressure, some issues, is gonna be Skull Taker because of his special rule. So take attention with this. About this. This is a bit of a problem, right? Because it basically nullifies the special rule from Acheran. Okay. And at this point, I'm thinking I need to avoid this guy, right? He has poison. I don't want this. So let's say this is something like the levels are pretty small, right? But you kind of see the point of this. We're just putting him over here, just a chaff card, because of the fact, even though he might hit a bit more or stronger, we just don't want to be hit by the Fester Blight. Just going with Psychic. We still have one shield remaining over here, which is pretty nice. The ranged attack is gonna be pretty rough, but at the same time, we don't really care that much. Okay, it's not enough, so let's go with Psychic again. And as you can see, this team is gonna just hold on forever because of the way it's set up, right? We have a bit of melee attack, so we can go with melee if we want at some point as well. And actually, no, not yet. But the backbone of any kind of team regarding Space Marines should be Tigurius. So he's the guy that you want to have in every deck with every warlord. Just he's that good, right? We lost a lot of HP from this target acquires, so we need to be careful about this, right? This is a good example of the fact that we don't win all the time. And actually, in fact, because of the fact that I'm going to lose this guy anyway, I'm just going to use the melee just to clear everything from the field, and then Skull Taker will come and probably die in the process, right? Or if not die, get close. It's going to get close to dying. Okay. So we have two cards which are taking a big beating over here, but at the same time you see that even though the Skull Taker is pretty strong, we still have reserves over here, and we can use the melee healing. In retrospect, maybe I should have used a healing card. That would have kept Mephisto alive, but that's the decision you have to take when you get the enemy deck, right? So you never know. Let's try another one to see. Maybe we'll get another Chaos deck, maybe a bit stronger, hopefully. It's the beginning of the season, so all the decks are all over the place. So actually this is a member of my clan. He should have some decent teams. Unfortunately the Tau, actually he does have a good far sight over here, level 9. Okay. Problem with Tau obviously is the fact that they don't have any kind of psychic, so it shouldn't be a hard battle. Actually I want this guy to survive a bit longer. I'm just gonna leave Tigi over here and I'm gonna heal them up. Just to make sure that even if I do lose a bit, they have some HP. Right, so this is cookie cutter stuff. You can use this deck against basically everything. Okay. Now you don't have the inspiring present, so this is pretty easy. We still have one shield with Tigurius. As you can see, when Nejal is close to death, Tigurius hasn't even taken one wound, right? And at the max level it's gonna be even stronger, so. And at this point, what can Farsight do? He can, I don't know, give a big shot, but all the Tau or most of the Tau armies are concentrated on ranged attacks, so you don't really have that much of a melee firepower. As you saw, it didn't even kill Tigurius, and that's a level 9 Farsight, so it's not a really bad one. Okay, and then we can just, I don't know, just do it like this, and that's it. So we didn't even lose one card, right? So we deployed and killed everything. And that wasn't a bad deck per se, right? It wasn't a good deck, but it wasn't a bad deck. Okay, maybe try one more with this one, and then we'll change the Warlord. Okay, so it's against a melee, a range type of deck. So at this point I'm just gonna add Mephiston over here. I'm gonna put, because this guy has some really shoddy stats over here, I'm just putting him over here. So even though he deployed first, he's not gonna get that more strong over here. So just heal them a little bit, and Brother Johnson actually has ranged enemy debuff, so he's actually really good on countering the fact that they start with a bit of ranged attack over here, right? So just spam as usual psychic. With the next, at the beginning of the next turn, this guy is gonna die due to the psionic blast, right? So we can actually take this guy as well, and also this guy, right? So yeah, this is a smaller kind of team, but you kind of see what we're doing here. We always have a couple of psychers, and their role is to be protected by either ranged or melee debuff, and have also options of counterattacking with some strong melee of our own, with some shields from Tigurius and all of that, right? And the special rule over here actually works really good, because when the first time the Space Marine gets to dying, he gets the Life Ward, right? That's what this means. And now you kill it and that's it. Okay, so let's go with the third option. So the third option, in my opinion at least, that could work pretty well, it's actually not Artemis. It should be Helbrecht. This is the more risky option, right? You need cars that survive. Okay, so over here you have this option over here, which has a plus 20. You have Venix that has regen. I added over here at that point Gallon, but Gallon actually has some regen, but it's not that strong, right? So you need a bit more than this. So although I have some good cards, I'm not sure that this is gonna be the deck that works in the event. You can try it, see how it goes. But at this point, this guy will be replaced, and actually is gonna be replaced by this bad boy. The Berserk should work really well with him. And either way, you have a small deck and can throw a really big punch, right? So you put this guy, put those two guys, try and heal them, try to protect at least Epistolary Garen as much as possible. He will have 8 wounds of regen, but Venix will have more, will have 16 wounds. So try to protect Garen as much as possible through all of this. And to see how this would work, I'm just gonna add this because this is a weaker deck, right? And with just having five extra cards, you can just deploy your big hitters at the beginning, and this is one of the counters that you might encounter actually. So it's a lot of psychic attack, so it's a good thing that we have this guy. And our role is to, and they have a shield also. Okay, so that's not a big issue. I'm gonna put this guy to heal up a little bit. Let's see who's the most dangerous one. So 54, 38, and 37. Okay, so I'll put Venix alongside. Although, once this guy dies, I'll need to make sure that I'm gonna slot him a bit in the middle, because this is gonna go a lot stronger. As you saw, it was 38, but due to the special rule from the Eldrad, he got hit with 60 wounds missing, right? So at this point, we can go with melee, because that's a special rule from the Market of Exemplar, right? So we got a bit of extra firepower, and that allowed both of our guys to get the Mark of Exemplar. And the extra melee attack, or increase of stats actually for everything, it's really helpful. And as long as you can keep those two guys alive, you should be able to do pretty well. The enemy deck isn't the best, but it's decent at least. So you can get a bit more attack, right? Another Mark of the Exemplar. And now your boy is dead, so you can bring on in the next one. And actually at this point, this is the most dangerous one, Triaron. So I'll just leave Triaron to kill my extra apothecary, my other next grey knights. Just make sure that those two survive, right? And what I'm doing is trying to and now this is over basically.